Hi, Rich Lieberman is the Friday Rich Lieberman Media Pulse. I'm a little lethargic, still under the weather, but I'm going to do my best to give you a little bit of news and analysis and point out a few things that needs to be addressed. If you didn't notice already, it was very prominent in the sports media news on Thursday. ESPN, the behemoth of cable outlets, they cut ties with Major League Baseball. They'd been paying each of the baseball teams about $550 million and had a contract that ran through 2025. Well, rather than wait, they had until March 1st to come out and make a decision, but they cut to the chase and said enough is enough. So this is the last year, 2025, for Major League Baseball to be broadcast on ESPN. Now, ESPN, for all of its faults and kind of lackluster ideas and various curious means and ways of talent, etc., they are huge. They're big, not just the cable end of it, but sports programming, streaming, their internet, ESPN.com is humongous. Matter of fact, just if you want to take a look, if you go to ESPN.com now, baseball is not even up there. It's like the seventh choice. You've got football, you've got, of course, NBA, golf, boxing, even hockey is ahead of baseball, which brings me to the local angle of all this. I'm hearing, just because I had to, was sort of turning the dial last night on the radio. So who do I hear on lovely Uberladen KNBR is FP Santangelo, whom the Giants brought back, even though KNBR and Cumulus fired him, let him go because he's not very talented. He's not very insightful. And worst of all, he's got a pretty poor history. Just Google FP Santangelo firing Washington Nationals. It's not a pretty picture. But the Giants, and for that matter, Cumulus KNBR, are so desperate for bodies to broadcast, whether it's play-by-play on the radio, television, that they brought this nincompoop back. So he's filling in on KNBR last night, Thursday. And he's outraged that the manner in which ESPN.com is covering baseball. Well, obviously, he's clueless that ESPN earlier in the day officially cut ties. He was unaware of that. And he went on and on and on without just acknowledging the fact that, yes, that's how bad it is. Baseball is not like the NFL. It's not even near the NFL. It's nothing like the NBA. The NBA is now the second most popular sport. Even hockey. And we all know what hockey has been like the last few years, although hockey now is becoming more profitable, is becoming more popular than baseball. Can you believe that? Take a look at the game on Thursday night. Basically the all-star game, but they figured out a way that the players care about that particular all-star game, the United States versus Canada, and that drew a pretty large margin of about 5 million people. That may not sound like a lot, but it sure as heck beat baseball. Sure as heck beat the NBA, which is just completely lost. They have no clue as to how to put on an all-star game. Again, it's the NFL, and the rest are all breadcrumbs. But more back to the point about the business situation with ESPN saying sayonara to Major League Baseball. Locally, we've all talked, I have, about the fact that even on their own flagship station, KNBR, they don't talk Giants baseball. They only talk Giants when they have to, when they're contractually obligated. And that's nothing official, but they have to. More than likely, here's another headline. KNBR, this is their last year with the Giants, who simply cannot produce the revenue, who simply cannot produce the numbers, who simply have not become darling childs to a new world of media when it comes to sports. Baseball simply isn't there. Locally, the Giants are not very popular. And that goes for all the teams, even the big teams like the Dodgers, like the Yankees, like the Phillies, like the Chicago teams, the Cubs, even the massive, almost $1 billion signing, Juan Soto, and the New York Mets, the second team of New York, hardly generates any kind of major interest in baseball. I'll give you another story and tie it in locally. These RSNs, what are RSNs? Regional sport networks, which are a lot of whom are going bankrupt. Why? They don't have the revenue. They don't have the numerical push that they used to enjoy, which was a major source of revenue, not just for baseball, but for each individual team, like the Giants on NBC Bay Area Sports, like the Dodgers, although the Dodgers are making tons and tons of money, which enables them to pay these outrageous deferred salaries, which they do. The Yankees, the so-called big market power teams, but even their revenue is down. Back to local. So the Giants still don't have any kind of contract beyond KNBR for 2026. They're still playing hardball, if you will, with the KNBR group owned by Cumulus to get rights money. Well, that ain't happening anytime soon. And once the end of this season is official, the Giants are either going to do one of two things. They're going to swallow their pride, make a deal, a short-term deal probably, with KNBR and Cumulus, because they ain't got anywhere to go unless they come up with their own site, their own streaming site, whether it's radio, whether it's some kind of an internet posting. They simply don't have the terrestrial radio following that they used to have. They're not alone. But while other teams have made deals, like the Dodgers, like the Yankees, the Mets, the Cubs, Philadelphia, the Giants are in the old days. They still believe that they could somehow nab millions of dollars out of Cumulus, which ain't going to happen anytime soon. Point to fact, radio. Point to fact, ESPN. Baseball does not have traction anymore, and it's been that way for years now. Why? Well, you can look at a number of reasons. It's a sport that does not have a lot of star power. It's a sport that most of its stars are Latin players. Nothing against Latin players, but few American bred baseball players are the norm these days. It's mostly Latin ball players. And a lot of those players do not speak English, or if they do, it's their second language. That doesn't provide for a very lucrative situation. And ESPN finally saw the handwriting on the wall that said sayonara. They're going to do a lot of their investing in streaming, and they're going to go to hockey, which you saw in full evidence last night. And of course, their bread and butter, like everybody else's, is the NFL. I don't know what portends for baseball. Few people, but the numbers are down, way, way, way down. And this is in spite of the fact that baseball has done a lot of tweaking with its rules, trying to make the game shorter, enforcing rules with regards to pitch counts, and trying to make it a more TV friendly sport. Hasn't happened. The numbers are still not good. You have an illegitimate commissioner. You have an industry in full-fledged decline. And I don't know what's going to happen with the Giants with regards to terrestrial radio, because their only option on terrestrial radio is 95.7 The Game. Oh, by the way, they're owned by Odyssey, which is owned by Entercom and the Soros Group, and they're cutting and cutting and cutting. They have no money either. There is no money whatsoever. And the Giants aren't exactly showbiz on the field. Yeah, they went out and signed this shortstop from Milwaukee, and they have Buster Posey as the guy fronting their organization now. But that doesn't translate, folks, into revenue, into, vast amounts of money to get a star like an Aaron Judge, somebody big in name, like, for example, Juan Soto. Hasn't happened. The Giants, okay, they went out and got a couple of guys. I didn't mention the fact that they signed this Justin Verlander, but that's a pitcher, and he's 42 years old. So there's not much gas left in the tank for Justin Verlander. And finally, how many people does Justin Verlander put people in the seats? Certainly not young people who are often busy looking at their phones. If they are involved in any kind of sports, it's checking out streaming sites and Netflix, all of the above. You heard all this before. It's a very ominous development. That's why the Giants had to bring back FP Santangelo. That's why the Giants are, in their pants, because their current broadcast stars are all people that are going to be gone one way or the other, either by circumstance or by their own doing. Kruko, Kuiper, all in their late 70s. Don't travel much anymore. One doesn't travel at all. John Miller, great broadcaster. FP Santangelo kissed his ass several times on Thursday night, as if trying to win him over for whatever reason. I think I know why. But John Miller is now mid-70s, does not have the draw that he used to have, doesn't work the full allotment of, nowhere near the amount of games that he used to work. And another person with a huge question mark beyond 2025. So most of the Giants broadcast crew are all 70s. Dave Fleming, they're only legit in terms of longevity, but even his future is absolutely uncertain, much like the Giants' cable future, much like the Giants' terrestrial radio future. Nobody knows, but this current breaking news that took place on Thursday with regards to ESPN and Major League Baseball was not a good situation for all parties involved. Very, very dire straits and very, very irksome at best. Thanks for watching my Friday broadcast. I hope to see you sooner or later. And please, if you can, make a donation so that I can continue to give you the non-spin news, which I do virtually every day. Thank you very much.